Hello everyone, Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Julelal. I am Pankaj Jodwani, a resident of Hyderabad. I am the man who has been used, abused and betrayed by his wife and in-laws, backstabbed by his own community, the Sindhi community of Hyderabad, and was let down by the Telangana police. Let me walk you through my story. I come from a joint family and my parents have deeply embedded the Indian morals, values and ethics into us. My wife also happens to be a teacher just like me and incidentally comes from a joint family too. Everything seemed perfect, a match made in heaven perhaps. Little did I know the experience of hell awaits me. Right in our first meeting on 5th September 2021, when my wife, along with her parents, grandmother, and maternal uncle, had come to our house, we had explained to them how my father is of a jovial nature, just like Indravardhan Sarabhai, portrayed by late Mr. Satish Shah. And my mother was firm as Maya Sarabhai, perhaps 2 steps ahead. She gives her heart and soul to the family and expects loyalty and transparency in return. It isn't too much to ask, but perhaps it was for my wife and her family. We also clarified of our financial struggles in the past and how we've strived to be where we are today. So we believe in giving nothing but the best in both personal and professional front. It must also be noted, in Feb 2022, my sister-in-law and my mother had a huge fight which was blown out of proportion. The first thing we did was call my wife and her family and inform them about it in detail. We also gave them an option to reconsider this prospect. They showed faith in us and wanted to continue the relationship. On our first date, I had clarified with my wife on what were the non-negotiables, what I could offer in a relationship and what I would expect from my partner. I had told her very clearly that lying is something I wouldn't ever tolerate. I mean, what is the point of being in a relationship if you can't be honest with each other? The second, I explained to her I would never leave my family. I always dreamt of a winter wedding, but sadly couldn't have one. I was okay in getting married in winter 2021, but my wife had a professional commitment of preparing students for her board exams until summer. So we chose to have a summer wedding. I chose to respect my wife's professional commitments over my dream. The wedding from our side was a small wedding as we had only invited 25 guests including friends and family. The reason being I wanted to plan a big honeymoon. This was explicitly told to my wife and her family when I personally went to their house and requested them to be okay with me inviting just 25 guests as I had originally planned to take my wife to Europe for our honeymoon. We had our tickets booked but our visas got rejected. Nonetheless, I took her to Kashmir. We stayed at one of the most expensive resorts in India. I made sure I pampered my wife just the way any husband would want to pamper his. I got married on 3rd May 2022. I was disrespected at my own wedding reception. On the stage, none of the relatives of over 200 which were invited from my wife's side, forget congratulating, even acknowledged my presence on the stage. Neither did my wife introduce me as her husband. They all came to the stage, gave the envelopes, gave the gifts, congratulated her and left. It must also be pointed that every gift that we received as a couple, my wife's family took them away secretly and never gave it to us. We never brought up that topic with them because we didn't care for the materialistic things. All we wanted was love and respect. Within the first 3 months of our marriage, I caught my wife and my mother-in-law abusing and insulting my family and specifically my mother on chats over Instagram and WhatsApp. When confronted, the first thing my wife did was delete those chats and then she apologized. Since this was her first mistake, I decided to let it slide and give her one more chance and hoped that she would change. Me and my wife decided to get pregnant not too long after the wedding as we believed time wasn't on our side. We would have liked to have our first child before she turned 30. She was also a year older to me. It took us 8 months of efforts to conceive a child. We named our child Divina, which means the answer to our prayers. No fictional movie would give you as many twists and turns in the story as much as my story is going to give you. Brace yourselves. On the baby shower event, we invited all of her relatives and friends that she wanted to be present. We did not invite anyone from our side as we wanted to keep a private event, but we made sure we fulfilled her wish. After wedding, my wife came to my home with an old broken phone. While I understand marriage is an expensive affair, I don't think adding a phone would have affected too much. However, I let that slide. On the baby shower, I made sure that I gave my wife the due upgrade that she was needed for. I got her a brand new phone as I did not want her to rely on anyone to click the photos and videos of our baby. I wanted her to have her privacy and wanted her to enjoy every single moment of her motherhood. We both selected the phone of her choice, of her preferred color, and I got everything that she wanted. However, what came next changed my life forever. On the evening of baby shower, I gifted the present to my wife, and I had one more surprise up my sleeve. My wife had a tendency to record our telephonic conversations, which she claims she would listen to whenever she would feel low. The hopeless romantic in me found it to be cute. Little did I know that was the first sign. On the evening of baby shower, I took her in our room, I bolted the door, planted a peck on her cheek lovingly, and told her, I have one more surprise for you, baby. And then pulled up the new phone and decided to play one recording from it. And to my shock, when I played the recording, it was neither her voice nor mine. It was the conflict that was happening in my place. That is when I understood. My wife used to secretly record conflicts of home and send to her parents. The reason of which I never understood till date. After this incident, I felt unsafe for my family and myself. I decided to dig further, so started recording her phone. What I found next was a mountain of cruelly intended conversations and conspiracies against my family. Following that, my daily schedule was spending part of my day teaching children the values of life apart from the subject I teach, and the latter spending countless hours catching the lies of my wife. I discovered that my wife and mother-in-law had insulted, abused, and disrespected my family to their friends and relatives in more ways than I can tell. The audio recordings shockingly also revealed my wife's suicidal tendencies. If that wasn't shocking enough, my mother-in-law would encourage them. I also found a lot more manipulative tactics that my mother-in-law would teach my wife, including but not limiting to the point once when I caught my wife lying, she called her mother asking what to do, and her mother told, Pankaj ko hug karo, kiss karo, pighal jayega. If this wasn't roller coaster ride enough, shockingly, my wife had searched in the 9th month of pregnancy on Google, can a pregnant woman in India leave her husband? Upon learning this, I was extremely hurt and decided to confront and end this matter once and for all. Me and my family went to her parents' house to talk about it, and we openly asked my wife if she's having any issues with the family, if she's being ill-treated by any members of the family, if she's being disrespected or there's any wrongdoing from our end. To which my wife denied every single question of ours and just apologized, saying that she likes playing the victim card. That wasn't enough for me. I wasn't ready to forgive my wife. However, her grandmother fell on my mother's feet. Her mother fell on my father's feet. Her father folded hands and begged for forgiveness. Her chachu profusely cried and begged me to give his niece one last chance. For the sake of my child, I decided to give one more chance. But things were going to be the same. I did not know then. Of all the recordings, what I found most hurtful was not when she insulted, abused, and disrespected my mother, brother, or family. It was when she demeaned the birth of my child to a drunken accidental sex. She made it sound as if our child was an accidental child. She told her friends that one night we had too much to drink and I couldn't drive, so we stopped by a hotel and had unprotected sex just once, and that is how we conceived our child. My daughter is a gift of God and not a result of a drunk accidental sex. In October, I was promised a change by my wife and her entire family. They had promised that this would be the last time she would be lying. However, things remained the same. After 1 month, in November and December beginning, until then my wife used to breastfeed, and she would always come to me in private and tell me how lucky she feels and how proud she is that she breastfeeds a child. I learned only a few days later that she had told her friend that my mother forces her to breastfeed a child like a machine, and this is something she did not want to do. I could not stand any more lies, and I decided that I would no longer stay with my wife. I had two options, to either send her away or to move out. I did not have the heart to send my daughter away or my wife. So I decided to leave that house and move in the house adjacent that we have on rent. I did not make my wife compromise on her quality of life. She had the bed, she had the TV, she had the AC. I gave up everything, including my wife and my child, my biggest comfort, and lived separately from them because I could not take any more lies. On 1st of January 2024, I once again received calls from my in-laws, both my father-in-law and mother-in-law. They yet again pleaded for one more chance, begged me for one more chance, emotionally manipulated me to give their daughter one last chance, and they told that I was their son, and basically guilt-tripped me into moving in back with my wife. And as a loving husband and a loving father, I did. In Jan 2024, I had gone away for 3 days to Jaipur to attend my best friend's wedding. This was the first time I ever left my wife and had gone somewhere. The only reason that she did not tag along was because she had to breastfeed our child and we were traveling to a remote area. In my absence during these 3 days, multiple times she has threatened my family of wanting to commit suicide. Upon further investigation, when we asked her on what is the reason, she claimed to be feeling guilty of betraying and disrespecting the family that looked after her and loved her. After this, my parents called her mother and requested her to come, take her, talk to her, figure out what is the issue, what is the problem in her that she's having such suicidal tendencies and is a such pathological liar. Her mother promised us that she would figure out what the problem is and address it. She also promised that she would train her daughter to be the homemaker that she was supposed to be right from the beginning of the marriage. She left in Jan end, and till April beginning there was radio silence from their end. During these 2 months, we also received a call from one of the most respected doctors in our Sindhi community, calling my father and asking him to forgive my wife as he treats her as his own daughter, and requested my father to once again reconcile. My mother took over the call and informed the doctor of few of the wrong deeds that my wife and her family did, and he has backed off since then and never come into picture again. On April 3rd, my wife had rejoined my life, and before this she had made a call once again asking for another chance. Although I did not want to give in, I was desperate to see my daughter and I was truly missing her. So in the hope of getting my daughter back, I told my wife that I would accept her on the condition being she would never threaten me or my family of suicides again, and I had explicitly told that I would break off every single tie with her parents and relatives. She had agreed to all of those. I had also clarified right in April 2024 that I will not be attending her younger sister's wedding, which I suspected was the reason why she was returning. She seemed to agree on all of my conditions. From April till October, life was everything I dreamt it to be. My wife's behavior had a drastic change. A part of me was a bit scared because all of it felt too good to be true. It felt as if my wife wasn't lying. She made me feel as if she was putting genuine effort. Although a part of me believed it, there was a part that kept questioning. A part of me also, a voice in me told me that perhaps my wife truly missed me and my family and all the love and respect that she had. And these 2 months helped her realize the value of her husband and her in-laws. But also a part of me reminded me that all of this is too good to be true, and perhaps it's the calm before the storm. Is this all just a malicious pretense to save her sister's marriage, to save her family from the embarrassment in front of society? This was a possibility that my mind considered, but my heart outright rejected it. My heart refused to believe that someone would stoop down this low. But guess I was wrong, because indeed was all a pretense. November 9th, 2024, her younger sister got married. A few days after that, she came back to my home. Since her sister's wedding, I saw changes in her behavior. I saw reflections of the past. The wife that who promised the change, everything seemed to vanish. She was once again back to being her lying self again. Upon confrontation, she sobbingly apologized and told that if once more she was caught lying, she would leave this home and go. We as a family then explained to her that leaving this house and going back to her parents wasn't the solution. Getting out of the influence of her parents and changing and becoming a genuine person was. On November 23rd, she finally, on a trivial note, wanted to leave home in an instant. She wanted to book a cab at 11:30 in the night and leave. I refused her from doing so. As I couldn't drop her, she then called her father and asked her to pick her up immediately. He obliged and he came, he took his daughter and went. No questions asked, no explanation, no discussion whatsoever. Back to once again radio silence. A week passed. 2, 3, there was absolute radio silence. And then I understood this was back to where it was. And this time the scar was much deeper, and I had clarity that I am no longer going to give this woman and this family another chance. So in the end of December, I called my father-in-law and I told him that I would like a divorce. To which he responded, "Jo karna hai kar." And then I immediately called my wife, who only heard and just acknowledged and did not respond anything with any kind of confirmation. A week passed once more after that. A week turned into a month into a month and a half. On 13th February, I heard from a relative of mine who had met my wife at Sindhu Bhavan during some cultural event, and they had informed my family that my wife looked paler and thinner than before. Listening to that, I was extremely hurt. I was extremely concerned for my wife. 14th Feb, Valentine's Day, the day of love. I thought I'll just go and see my wife. Although I still wasn't ready to accept her back, but I just wanted to see how she is doing. Yes, I also wanted to see my daughter, but primarily it was still the love I had for my wife. I decided to surprise her and my daughter, and I packed a gift, a little piano for my daughter, who was gifted naturally with sense of music, and a chocolate for my wife, and I headed to her home on 14th morning. Upon reaching there, my wife was happy, but yet again tried talking about the past, or rather the future, without addressing the past or the present. She just kept asking me what is the future, and I told her that there is no future, and I haven't come here for reconciliation, but just to see her, as I was told that she isn't doing well. One thing led to the other. She kept trying to forcefully hug me, forcefully kiss me, forcefully make me lay on the bed, forcefully hold my hands. I did not feel anything. I was numb. Holding my hands made me feel nothing. The hurt that I felt was far deeper than the fake love she was trying to portray. She kept asking me to talk to her, and then when I confronted her parents about the fact that she demeaned the birth of our daughter to a drunken night sex story, I was hoping that her parents would correct her, but instead my mother-in-law responded by saying that I didn't take her to dinners, and that is why she lied and made a fake sex story to make her life exciting. I was perplexed. I told them, but I never took her to any hotel locally. So did she even go with me? And then I asked my wife the same question, that were you lying to your friends or were you lying to me? Listening to this, her ego got hurt and she slapped me twice in front of her parents. Her parents did not do anything. If anything, they also let their dog, they unleashed their dog onto me, and they bolted the door. Parents were standing in front and not letting me go, and wife was standing in behind and wanted me to stay. It was a mess in that house. I managed to get out of this house as a true man without raising my hand back on my wife or on my in-laws. I left from there and never looked back since. A couple of weeks passed after that. Then my wife's maternal uncle, who had come my home for the first time with my wife's family, had tried to manipulate my dad And then I refused, and I made my dad tell him very clearly, if he wishes to communicate anything to my family, it has to be through my mother. He refused to talk to my mother as he lacked the courage, as he knows he couldn't manipulate her. The society may look at him as a respectable man with social reputation, but I look at him as a man with no courage, with no morals, with no ethics, and with no decency. In May, my wife once again tried reaching me out, and she kept asking me about the future. And I very explicitly told that without addressing the present and past, there is no future. And I even dropped her a message on WhatsApp that her and her family coming forward in front of people is a distant dream which I know will not come true, so it's better we part ways mutually. I also informed the same to her maternal uncle, as it is my responsibility, since he had come with my wife and her parents for the first time to my house. I informed them of the same and was hoping to get some sort of acknowledgement. But once again, there was radio silence from both of their end. From December 2024 till May end 2025, me and my family, we reached out to the Sindhu Bhavan, the Hira Hall, Hyderabad, and any and every Sindhi personality who holds any kind of social reputation to help us mediate this issue. As my wife was neither divorcing me nor coming forward. She just kept me hanging, separated from my daughter, and kept torturing me. Of all the Sindhi personalities that we reached out to, 2 of them got back to us, offering us to mediate the issue between my family and my wife's family. These 2 are official board members of Sindhu Bhavan Sindhi Colony Secunderabad, and also are board members of various other Sindhi organizations such as Vishwa Sindhi Seva Sangam and Sindhi Federation of South India. Upon learning on their esteemed nature of helping and their reputation, me and my family felt relieved that finally we were in safe hands. Finally, we had someone who would listen to our side and who would mediate. We did not ask for anything but just either divorce or come in front, as our life was stuck in a limbo and not going anywhere. These 2 mediators promised to help. One of the mediators was in direct contact with my brother, and one of them was in direct contact with me. The one who was in contact with me was a lady, and since she was a lady, I felt close to her, and I had the liberty to explain her my issues with my wife in extreme detail, the kind that I cannot talk about publicly. She seemed to have won my trust over, heard everything. I explained to her on how the police isn't doing, the police isn't supporting me, neither is the society. She seemed to listen to me everything carefully. Later did I know she was also in part of this and was conspiring against me and my family. Soon after these 2 board members confirmed mutual divorce, the mediator I was in touch with, she confirmed regarding mutual divorce with my mother-in-law, and the mediator who was in touch with my brother confirmed for mutual divorce with my wife's maternal uncle, who took confirmation from my father-in-law. The only reason there is so many people involved is because my wife's family would refuse to come out in front in public and give any kind of confirmation. So we got these confirmations through these people, and upon receiving these confirmations, I once again confirmed with them if they would want me to initiate mutual divorce form, because I had absolute zero trust on my wife and her family, as I know they are deceiving and pathological liars. They assured me that they have their word, and they also, this mediator who was in touch with me, she also promised to sign as a witness. After receiving such reassurances, I took the courage, I made the payment to my lawyer, and I initiated the mutual divorce form. After sending the mutual divorce form to my wife, she suddenly started threatening me with legal terms, saying that I am harassing her and her baby. I immediately reached out to the mediator who had promised me. She acted surprised and she told, but your wife's mother has confirmed to me, she is told that you all have the proofs and they do not want to make a bigger mess of this, and they want to mutual divorce as well. So I told the lady very clearly that if anything was to happen to me or my family, you would be held responsible for that. She told she would speak to the family and get back. On 20th June, I sent my wife the mutual divorce papers. On 21st June, my wife filed a fake 498A dowry and harassment case at Begumpet Women's Police Station. Since then, this mediator who was in touch with me and the mediator who was in touch with my brother both disappeared. It wasn't as if they were unaware. They were aware of every single thing. They, in collaboration with my wife, have conspired a case against me and my family. They have used their social reputation, their social power and influence to keep everyone shut. We reached out to Sindhu Bhavan asking for justice. We officially submitted them a letter. They did not take any action. On 26th July, when we had enough of it, we decided to do a silent protest outside Sindhu Bhavan. We did so after taking permission from the Ram Gopal Pet police station. In fact, even the police officer at Ram Gopal Pet police station had clearly told, why is the society not helping you? And we told him the exact reason why we are fighting. After our silent protest, the president of Sindhu Bhavan invited us in to talk about the issue. And over there, both the mediators confirmed that they were confirmed about the mutual divorce from my mother-in-law and the maternal uncle who holds immense social reputation. And we were promised that they would bring them in front. It's been months since that has happened. And when we called the president and my mother asked him for updates, he just very casually told that they are not answering my calls. And since then, even Sindhu Bhavan has stopped responding to us. So everyone who has done wrong with us are using the influence of these people, and the other people of the Sindhu Bhavan, they are not taking an action and supporting these. Today I am raising a question on Sindhu Bhavan. Is it a community service or is it a service for the rich and the powerful? Is money more important than actual peace? Today, Sindhu Bhavan is a place where we all reach out to. Jai Julelal Sai, what is our teaching? We welcome one and all. But clearly, that has died down. Sindhu Bhavan only serves to ones who are rich and powerful and who can keep their mouth shut. I am opening my mouth. I am ashamed to be a Sindhi. After receiving confirmation from both the mediators, I made mutual divorce papers. Where am I wrong? After asking them if I should send it to my wife, I sent it to her. After taking confirmation from the mediator if she will sign as a witness, that is when I made the divorce papers. What wrong have I done? And after all of this, she has put a FIR on me, and the crux of the FIR is that I am forcing and harassing her for mutual divorce. Whereas the truth is, I informed my father-in-law in the month of December. I informed my wife in the month of December. In the month of February, I texted my wife again about it. In May, I clearly even removed the option of reconciliation and told the divorce is the only way to go forward, which was informed to her, her parents, her maternal uncle, the Sindhu Bhavan, the mediators, the entire world. Yet today, my wife has defamed me and my family throughout the city, saying that we have taken dowry and talaq ho gaya hai. My parents get to hear कि तुमने दहेज लेके शादी किया, talaq हो गया है, talaq नहीं हुआ है. And just so that you all know, as much as my wife and her parents are spreading ki we have been divorced and they don't want to send, my wife has been begging me at the counseling centers to accept her back, and I refuse to do so. And I'm not saying this with pride that I'm not accepting my wife back. The only reason I refuse to accept is because she still continues to lie. I refuse to accept a liar back. I refuse to be associated with a lawyer. I refuse to be known as the dowry demanding wife beater. I refuse to be known as the father who was ashamed to have a girl child. These are all the allegations my wife has put on me in the FIR. I have proofs for every single one of them. I refuse to be the man that she's making me sound. I was a good husband, I am a good son, and I am a good citizen of this city. Every thriller has that one character who looks innocent on the front but turns out to be the biggest culprit. In my story, that character is no other person than my father-in-law. He is the biggest coward I know. Until his younger brother was alive, he always sent his younger brother forward for his wife and his daughter's wrongdoings. After his brother's death, he sent his brother-in-law forward to mediate the issue. In between all of that, he pushed forward the most well-renowned doctor in the Sindhi community forward to apologize on his behalf. Not once did he come forward. In the legal notice that I sent to my wife, the legal notice I got in reply was on his name. In the FIR that my wife has filed, Under her name, his number is written. The police has always called him. He uses his contacts to get things mediated because he does not have the courage to come in front. He is the biggest coward that I know of. He does not have the courage to look me in the eye and acknowledge everything that his wife and his daughter has done. He is the most cowardly man I can ever think of. In the past 1.5 years, I have 3 police complaints against my wife and 1 legal notice. The first police complaint was raised in March 2024 when my wife's uncle had called my father and told that they needed some clothes. This was the period of separation, as I mentioned earlier in the video. Under the pretext of taking some clothes, my wife barged into my room along with her sister when I was sleeping shirtless. She barged in and took all of her gold and jewelry, packed all of it and left. I have photos and video evidences of that. Right after she left, I went to the police station and informed police of everything that happened, right from her suicidal threats to the fact that she took each and every Sridan of hers, because I knew my wife in future would put fake allegations on me. And this was me predicting in 2024. The police did not take any action. They called my father-in-law instead of calling my wife, and my father-in-law made excuses and kept delaying the process. Eventually, he never turned up to the police station, neither did the police follow up. And that is the seriousness that the police takes when the complaint is done by a man. The second police complaint that I tried to file was at Ram Gopalpet police station on 14th February 2025, right after I was physically abused by my wife when she slapped me and unleashed her dog onto me. I went to the police station and I informed them of the same. They ridiculed me and mocked me and said, "To kya hua? बीवी से ही तो मार खाया है." Would any police officer dare to say the same to any wife if she would go complain about her husband physically abusing her? If the same thing is done by a man, why isn't it taken seriously? Even over there, instead of calling my wife on whom the complaint was given, the police officer called my father-in-law. And my father-in-law, in his exact words, said to the police officer, "हमको इन लोगों से रिश्ता नहीं रखना है, हमको तलाक चाहिए." And since we also wanted divorce, the police officer told us to go away from the police station, as even my wife's family wanted a divorce. They did not take any action, and that was it. In fact, they did not even accept my complaint. The third police complaint I filed was on 21st June 2025. The same day that my wife filed the FIR, I had my very own complaint against my wife and the mediator. The police never took any action on that. After my wife filed a fake 498A case at the women's police station Begumpet, when I was called, the first question the police officer asked me and my parents was, "लड़की को घर से बाहर क्यों निकाला?" We promptly responded by saying, "We did not throw her out of the house. She left at her own will. Her father came to pick her up." He then asked us, "Why are we harassing her for divorce?" And then when I played the recording of the mediator confirming me that my wife and her family are okay for a mutual divorce, he just told me, "ये proof बना के रखो, court में काम आएगा." Then after some time, when my wife's family had come, only my mother and my father's phones were seized, not my wife and her parents. Only our 3 phones were seized. We were called into the room of the higher official ranked police officer, and he threatened me saying, "Accept your wife back or मैं case ठोकूंगा." Is this the job of police, to threaten? Why was I threatened by a police officer that he will book a case against me if I don't accept my wife? I calmly and politely told the police officer that, "Sir, after me showing you the proofs, इसके बाद भी अगर आपको केस ठोकना है तो आप ठोकिए." And then I was referred to the counseling. In the counseling, my wife kept lying and I kept proving every single lie of hers. The counselor asked me multiple times to forgive my wife, and she told me, if her parents couldn't change her, why can't you change? She has lived with her parents for 27 years. She's going to live with you for the rest of your life. I asked the counselor, is she my wife or my child that I have to teach her? Am I supposed to enjoy my life with my partner or teach her as my child? Why should I pay the price of failed parenting that my in-laws have done? She did not have an answer to that. I asked counselor multiple questions that she never responded to. My counselor even told me that I was nowhere at fault and it was my wife's fault. My counselor even told me that she apparently even told that the FIR reports was in her hand and there will be no FIR filed as long as the reports are in her hand. But the FIR was filed. After the FIR being filed, when I went to the counselor, she told me that she explained my wife not to file the FIR, but my wife apparently did not listen. Now, coming to the FIR. Firstly, when I was called to the Begumpet police station, women's police station, I was never given the complaint copy. Right on the first day that I was called, I asked, what is the reason I'm being called? They told me 498A, dowry harassment. I told that's the section of the complaint, that's the name of the complaint. What is the exact complaint? They refused from giving the exact complaint. I asked the counselor for the complaint copy. The counselor refused to give the complaint copy. I made a call to the Begumpet Women's Police Station and I asked, sir, I am being called from one end of the city to the other end. I don't even know what am I being accused of. I would like the complaint copy. You know what he said? Secret hai, court se nikalo. A police officer saying that a complaint copy and a FIR copy is a secret and he will legally I don't have any right over it and the only way I can get it is through court. Really? Is that how the process works? I am pretty sure I have a legal right to get the complaint copy when I am being accused of committing a crime. Why did I not get the complaint copy? Why did I not get the FIR copy? I had to download the FIR copy from the Telangana police website. In the FIR copy, the investigating officer has written that she has read the FIR copy and given one copy to the complainant, as in me, free of cost. That is lies. I never received any FIR copy or complaint copy after asking multiple times. Frustrated with the unfair treatment by the women's police station, I started writing emails to the National Council of Women, the Telangana Wing Women Safety, anywhere and everywhere, the ADG of Hyderabad, everywhere. The National Council of Women straight up rejected my complaint, saying that it isn't for the deprivation of rights of women. I am not fighting for the deprivation, but I am fighting for the misuse and abuse of law done by women. But I never got a reply. However, there was some positivity. The DCP of Telangana Wing Women Safety accepted my complaint. She called me on 18th October 2025. She gave me an appointment and she called me and my mother, we spoke to the DCP. We explained her. She has now ordered an official investigation on the women's police station. I would like answers on that. Just this week I got an update that the report has come to her and she is forwarding this report to the ADG of Telangana, who is going to send the report to me. I would like answers for this. I would also like to inform you all, on 1st July, my mother submitted our letter that we submitted to the Sindhu Bhavan. The action that they did not take, CM took our letter seriously. He converted our letter into petition and he has transferred the petition all across the city, from the secretariat to Madhapur. Now it's come to the police station, Chandanagar police station, and I am awaiting an update from the Chandanagar police station. Chandanagar police station has asked me what do I want in the context of the petition. I have asked only for two things: action on the mediators for false promises and framing me into legal mess, and second, calling my wife and knowing what is the truth. I am not asking anyone to blindly believe my side of the story. I am only asking there for there to be transparency. This week is celebrated as the Vigilance Week, and during this week every government employee takes a pledge, takes an oath to be transparent with their work, to be fair with their work, to not treat anyone unfairly. And I am requesting the government officials to do their job properly. This video is usually the last step a man takes before he commits suicide and ends his life. I understand that feeling. I have been through that. But I am not going to give up on my life yet. Why should I? When I have done nothing wrong, I refuse to give up. I will continue to fight till my last breath. I have done nothing wrong. I want justice. We have reached out to the Sindhi politician of Madhya Pradesh. He promised to help us. But then after that, when we shared the numbers of the mediators, I don't know what happened. He blocked my brother. It is really alarming. On what basis are we being treated this way? Why is nobody listening to our side of the story? When when I went and said anything, they said that your side is one side and we cannot take action on one side. Then why, without any proof, was an FIR filed on me? Why was there no investigation done by Begumpet police station, women's police station, without any investigation? After me showing the proofs, they are saying, good, keep these proofs safe, court pe kaam aayega. Then why are you accepting the fake complaint when you can see the complaint is fake? Why are you encouraging women? Why is there no punishment? We have reached out to PM Modi's cabinet. My brother has sent 146 emails. Over to 146 email addresses, he has written a mail. We haven't received a response from a single person. I have written email to the head of the VSS and the Sindhi Federation of South India. No response. I personally got in touch on WhatsApp with the head of VSS. He told me he will talk to the mediator and get back. He never got back. Never ever. Everyone who promises to help, the moment they know who is the mediator, in front, once they realize their names and once we give them their contact numbers, they disappear and they block us. What is this influence that these mediators have? What is power do they hold that's making the world shut their mouth? What wrong have we done? I demand answers. We demand justice. Justice isn't a favor, it isn't a request, it is a demand. This Vigilance Week, I request the government employees to please do their job properly and not let another man die due to suicide. There have been enough rise in cases of suicide. Just this week, in my vicinity, there's been one more suicide of a man who got enough tortured by his wife and could not accept it anymore and ended his life. And the police started investigation after his death. I request the police to start the investigation. I am alive and kicking, and I'm there if you have any questions to ask. I am not lying about a single thing. I have proof for every single statement that I have. Stop abuse of law. Women's right should not cost men's their right. I urge the police department to please do their job properly. Accept any woman's complaint. Absolutely, I understand that it is your duty to accept the complaint. Please accept the complaint, but without any investigation, do not take an action on a man. Now, I do not know if the Begumpet police station did their job under the pressure of someone. If they mistreated me because the complaint has gone through an influence, or it is an act of gross negligence. There are only two possibilities, because I spoke to the DCP myself and she told me I had the legal right to get the complaint copy. I had the legal right to get the FIR copy. I had the legal right to have gone through a fair investigation. I was deprived of all of my legal rights. I urged DCP ma'am to please take an action. The ADG to whom it has been forwarded, and I got to know just this week that it is ADG. If I'm not wrong, it is Shika Goyal ma'am, IPS Shika Goyal ma'am, who has forwarded my letter to the DCP. And now I just spoke to the office yesterday. Apparently the report you have gotten back from the Begumpet Women's Police Station, it will go back to the ADG ma'am and then come to me after 8 to 10 days. I urge you, please do not let any other more men die. There have been enough deaths. I am not asking you to not accept complaints. By all means, once again I reinstate, accept complaints of women. We will give the benefit of doubt to women, but let the man be innocent until proven guilty and not guilty until proven innocent. Please give a man his fair chance at justice. Don't deprive him of his right. Thank you. Today I am being accused of taking dowry. When my wife left on 23rd November, in December my father-in-law called my father saying that they needed some stuff, and he gave a list of things that they needed. One of them was a 200 rupee bathtub. They took the bathtub for my child from my house till there. They cannot afford a 200 rupee bathtub. They are saying that they gave me diamonds and 10 lakh rupee. I demanded 10 lakh rupees on the birth of my daughter because I was ashamed to have a girl child. Shame on them to accuse me of that. I was never, in fact, if anything, my wife wanted a son. I always prayed for a daughter. I am extremely proud to be a father of a daughter. I refuse to be known as a dowry demanding wife beater of a husband and a father who was ashamed to have a girl child. Divina, I was extremely proud of you. You weren't even an accidental baby. Your mother lied about everything. Your father did not do anything wrong towards your mother, nor towards you. He loved your mother as well, and he will always love you, baby. No matter how much poison is filled in your mind, I hope in your heart I stay.
दीवीना बेबी मेरी प्यारी रानी, मेरी राजकुमारी, सदोरी दुलारी। दीवीना बेबी मेरी प्यारी रानी, मेरी राजकुमारी, सदोरी दुलारी।
रानी 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 मेरी प्यारी रानी है तू, दादू की डाली और दादू की दीवानी है तू। छोटी सी है तू बेबी लेकिन कदी शैतानी, Pamachi baby hamari divi na dudwani, divi na dudwani, divi na dudwani। Pamachi baby hamari divi na dudwani। खाने की तू शौकीन, खाना अच्छे से तू खाए, बाकी बच्चे तंग करते लेकिन तू न सताए। दादी की गोदी में बैठे दादी ही खिलाए, बड़े पापा को देख रानी काहे तू शर्माए। मम्मा की तू जान है तू मामा की है प्राण, करती तुझसे प्यार कितना करता ऐलान। दीदी के साथ खेले तू है दीदी तेरी दोस्त, सब चाहे तुझे but she loves you the most। अरे मम्मा का करे तू इंतजार, करती है तुझसे वो भी बहुत सारा प्यार। मखाना बेबी बोले दीदी मेरी समझदार, अब ये बात भी तो सच है कैसे करूँ इनकार।
दीवीना बेबी मेरी प्यारी रानी, मेरी राजकुमारी, सदोरी दुलारी। दीवीना बेबी मेरी प्यारी रानी, मेरी राजकुमारी, सदोरी दुलारी।
Happy birthday, Devina.